I will bet you that you have the same revelations at night that I do. Isn't it weird that if you're driving at night or you're home alone late at night, you have melancholy moments that come to you? And sometimes if you write down the things that are come through your mind, the next day when you're back to the real world, it's almost kind of like, that sounded good last night, but it doesn't sound very good now. You know you got something special is when it comes to you at night and you wake up the next day and you said, by golly, that's still relevant. Here's what's on my mind. I want to tell you something. My wife told me that I wasn't allowed to say this because she was pregnant. And you know what? I'm sympathetic to pregnant women. Obviously, I'm married to a woman that had children. I've been married twice. My first wife, who died of cancer, she had children. She had 3 children. I remember her being pregnant. I have people that work for me that get pregnant. I am not somebody that discriminates and is prejudiced against a pregnant woman. Thank God we have women having babies. But you know what? Don't you need a little bit of class? I think it was People magazine that did a comparison between Kate Middleton's pregnancy and Kim Trash Kardashian. You ought to see these pictures of how Kate Middleton dresses at these events and how Kardashian dresses. And how, I mean, it is incredible. By the way, Kim Kardashian, I don't get it, never have, never will. I want to tell you something right now. It epitomizes what the hell's wrong with this country. And this revelation came to me. How many freaking people do you know that have their damn act together? Think about that. How many people are not in this category? I challenge you to send me the names of the people that you know that are in this category. Somebody who is not obese, hooked on porn, internet or otherwise, an alcoholic, hooked on prescription pills, hooked on pain medicine, hooked on some type of psychotic drugs, hooked on something that's maybe, depression, or they're just depressed. They are dependent upon the government, as my good buddy Willie Cunningham says, fat, dumb, and lazy. They're obese. They are eating their way out of whatever problem they have. They have relationship problems with their spouse. In other words, they're married, but it's an empty marriage. They have relationship problems with their children. They have, they're jobless, so they're dependent upon the government. I would like for you, they got other issues like crazy anger issues. How many people do you freaking... Now, I want to tell you something. We all know that even people who got their act together have stuff happen to them. Yours truly. I got my act together. I still have stuff that happened to me. But you know what? If you got your act together, you're able to deal with what comes your way. The problem with America is we got so many freaking people on food stamps, disability, they're depressed, they're obese, they're freaking lazy, they got issues with their kids, they're hooked on prescription drugs, you name it. We're so freaking screwed up that nobody can deal with normal freaking life anymore. And you have to say to yourself, well, what's the solution? Because when I run for president, I'm going to offer freaking solutions. Do you know what the solution is? Here's the solution. We get back to the freaking basics. Less government. We have economy that focuses on job creation. I got this theory, now don't get me wrong. You can have a job and you can be freaking depressed. You can have all these other problems. But you know what? Empirically, I haven't studied this, but I'll bet you if you checked out people that got a job that they like, I'll bet you they got less freaking problems in the world. That's simple. The other thing is the way we take God out of everything. I saw some black principal. Now you say, well, why'd you have to mention that she was black? Well, it's not relevant at all to what she had to say. But this principal last night said, I couldn't believe it. She said, we don't call the Easter Bunny, and we don't reference the Easter Bunny in school because everybody thinks the Easter Bunny is tied into religion. What? I grew up freaking Catholic. The Easter Bunny? The Easter Bunny's like Santa Claus. It was like, oh, you ought to just focus on Jesus, baby Jesus. This is the birth of Jesus and not Santa Claus. Well, is it the same freaking thing? Easter's the resurrection of the Christ. The Easter Bunny ain't got nothing to do with religion. Although just like Santa Claus, a bunny jumping around all night, passing out eggs and candy to little kids, is a pretty Christian thing to do. But I'm telling you right now, our country's gone to hell in a Chinese-made freaking canoe. And the only way to get it back is to go back to the basics. And by the way, for all of us that got our act together, we got an obligation. You know what that obligation is? That obligation is to fight like hell to wake up those that don't have their act together.